Hello, friends. Welcome back to the channel. In our last episode, we explored Chapter 7 of Handbook of Abhidhamma Studies, the cognitive process, or Chittavati. We learned how consciousness flows in sequences, how perception unfolds step by step, and how impermanent each mental event really is. Today we move into Chapter 8, which is one of the most practical and profound topics in Buddhism, Kamma and Rebirth. Now, the word Kamma literally means action, but in Buddhism it specifically refers to intentional action, action done with volition, with choice. And here's the key: intentional action leads to results. What we do, think, and say plants seeds that ripen in the future. This chapter explains how wholesome and unwholesome karma shape our lives and our rebirths. It introduces the concept of javana, the moment of volition in a cognitive process where karma is generated, and it shows how karma seeds future existence, continuing the cycle of samsara. So, if you've ever wondered why do things happen the way they do, how does Buddhism explain rebirth? How do my actions shape my future? This chapter will give us the answers. In Abhidhamma, karma is defined as volitional action. The Buddha said, volition, monks, is karma. Having willed, one acts by body, speech, and mind. So karma is not just physical action, it is the intention behind the action. For example, if you give a gift with a pure heart, that is wholesome karma. If you speak harshly with anger, that is unwholesome karma. If you act without intention, like sneezing, that is not karma. This shows that karma is ethical. It is about the quality of intention. Wholesome karma leads to good results. Unwholesome karma leads to suffering. Karma is divided into wholesome and unwholesome. Wholesome karma arises from non-greed, non-hatred, and wisdom. Examples include generosity, compassion, mindfulness, and wisdom. These actions lead to happiness, good rebirths, and progress on the path. Unwholesome karma arises from greed, hatred, and delusion. Examples include killing, stealing, lying, and harmful thoughts. These actions lead to suffering, bad rebirths, and bondage in samsara. This analysis shows that every intentional action plants a seed. Wholesome seeds ripen as happiness, unwholesome seeds ripen as suffering. For example, if someone cultivates generosity, they may be reborn in fortunate circumstances. If someone cultivates hatred, they may be reborn in unfortunate circumstances. So, karma is the law of moral causation. It explains why beings experience different conditions. One of the most fascinating concepts in Abhidhamma is javana, or impulsion. In a cognitive process, there are many moments of consciousness, but only certain moments carry volition strongly enough to generate karma. These are the javana moments. Javana is the driving force, the impulsion that propels the mind toward action. For example, when you see a beggar, first visual consciousness arises. Then perception recognizes the beggar. Then javana arises at the moment of volition. You may feel compassion and decide to give, or feel aversion and turn away. That moment of volition is kamma. It plants a seed that will ripen in the future. So javana is the decisive moment in the cognitive process where kamma is generated. Karma plays a central role in rebirth. When death occurs, the last consciousness moment is followed by a rebirth linking consciousness. The quality of that rebirth linking consciousness depends on past karma. Wholesome karma leads to rebirth in fortunate realms, human, heavenly. Unwholesome karma leads to rebirth in unfortunate realms, animal, ghost, hell. This shows that rebirth is not random, it is conditioned by karma. For example, if someone cultivates compassion and wisdom, they may be reborn in a human or heavenly realm. If someone cultivates hatred and cruelty, they may be reborn in a lower realm. So, karma seeds future existence, it sustains the cycle of samsara. How does this help us in practice? By understanding karma, we realize that our actions matter. Every thought, word, and deed plants seeds. This inspires us to cultivate wholesome karma, generosity, compassion, mindfulness, wisdom, and it warns us to avoid unwholesome karma, greed, hatred, delusion. In meditation, we can observe javana moments. We can notice the volition behind thoughts. We can choose to cultivate wholesome volition. This practice purifies the mind, leads to good results, and ultimately supports liberation. Some critics misunderstand karma as fate. They think everything is predetermined. But Buddhism teaches that karma is just one factor. Other factors include physical causes, natural laws, and chance. So, karma is not destiny, it is moral causation. It explains how intentional actions shape experience, but it does not mean everything is fixed. Another misunderstanding is that karma is punishment or reward, but it is not imposed by anyone. It is simply the natural law of cause and effect. So, to conclude, Chapter 8 of Handbook of Abhidhamma Studies explains karma and rebirth. We've learned that karma is intentional action leading to results. We've discussed wholesome and unwholesome karma and their role in rebirth. We've introduced javana as the moment of volition in a cognitive process, and we've seen how karma seeds future existence. Most importantly, we've seen how this understanding helps us in practice. By cultivating wholesome karma and avoiding unwholesome karma, we shape our future and move toward liberation. Thank you so much for joining me in this deep dive into Chapter 8 of Handbook of Abhidhamma Studies. We've journeyed through the definition of karma, the distinction between wholesome and unwholesome actions, the role of javana, and the connection between karma and rebirth. We've reflected on how this inspires us to live wisely and compassionately. If you found this exploration helpful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with others who might be interested in Buddhist philosophy and meditation. In our next episode, we'll move into Chapter 9, where we explore jhana and supramundane consciousness, the higher states of meditation and the consciousness that leads directly to enlightenment. Until then, may you be well, may you be peaceful, and may you continue your journey into wisdom.